Yeah, I know, we didn't get the Ayer cut of the first Suicide Squad film yet. Maybe we never will, who knows? After seeing a press screening early, I am super stoked to give you guys my spoiler-free thoughts and opinions on James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. The premise for this film is exactly what you guys would think. A group of criminals are given the chance to shave some time off their prison sentence by doing the dirty work of Amanda Waller. She's the head of a government organization you don't want to mess with. If at any point during a mission you go against her rules, boom, the explosive that was implanted in your brain detonates. Bye-bye. First things first. Yeah, I know you guys are thinking it sounds a lot like the plot from the previous film, but with this one, James Gunn managed to throw so many twists and turns into this that it felt like a completely new and unique experience. Starting off with the cast, if a lot of people out there hated the first movie or thought it was meh, at least there's a specific few actors you could pick out of the original that you liked, and they're back in this one. Viola Davis, Joel Kinnaman, Jai Courtney, and Margot Robbie, and they're depicted the same exact way they were in the first movie personality-wise. Their appearance is slightly different than the first movie, but I don't know, with this, I'm just looking at him in a whole new light. The supporting cast, holy shit. Flula Borg, Nathan Fillion, I could list 15 more names, but my personal favorite? Sylvester Stallone as that stinky fucking fish, King Shark. He can be cute, violent, and hilarious all within the span of a minute. As shown in the trailers, Starro is the bad guy, well, bad creature, and technically speaking, a lot of the people in this film are bad guys, but Starro is the main villain, if you will. As goofy as it sounds, this creature was more than meets the eye and a way more interesting threat than Enchantress and her brother from the first film. Comparisons to the first have to be made. I know we just gotta get them out of the way. Like the fact that James Gunn also put a shitload of songs into this film. And trust me, I'm with a lot of you guys. An overabundance of cliche songs was one of the problems with the first film. But with this one, I just heard so many obscure tunes, and whoever curated the soundtrack on this project, they just did it in a well thought out way. God, there's just so much to talk about. Peacemaker? Holy shit, DC's version of Captain America, if he was a dick. John Cena was entertaining as hell to watch, and I can't wait to see that HBO Max spin-off show with him in it. Definitely a close second for favorite member of the team. As James Gunn said though, don't get too attached to certain characters. I won't list them all, but dude, David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man, if you manage to make me feel some sort of zany emotional connection to a dumb character like that, then you've already sold me. And as a whole, that's what this film did. I had a few minor gripes, like the character Bloodsport, for instance. Don't get me wrong, Idris Elba freaking killed it. He looked like he had a fun time with this movie, and all the gunfighting and gadgets he had were neat. But his whole backstory and persona in this film is the exact same thing as Deadshot in the first. Even down to the daughter subplot. Maybe that was intentional to poke fun at the original, I don't know. The other small gripe I had is after the first action sequence, they do the whole like 3 days earlier thing, so they should have build up to that moment. I'm just really tired of seeing that plot device in TV shows and movies. It takes all the stakes out of it for me, but I mean, at least in this one, it's a film that's not meant to be taken too seriously. With all that said, I had a blast with this film. Kick-ass cast, ridiculously violent, very deserving of that R rating, well-placed humor, an insane amount of rewatchability, catchy soundtrack, and visuals. As I mentioned briefly, the icing on the cake is a freaking giant starfish kaiju. And if you guys think that that doesn't sound remotely entertaining, then I'm gonna go on a limb and just say you're a Marvel fanboy or someone boring. Because even my best friend who came to this screening with me, who prefers MCU and Marvel movies, said this is one of DC's best. So James Gunn, thank you for giving us this sequel, reboot, requel, whatever you want to call this thing. I will say though, it is a little weird because there is characters in this that were in a previous DCEU film, but at the same time, there's not an overabundance of references or any that I really caught that would state that it's in the DCEU. It still stands on its own. To all the fellow nerds out there, I highly recommend this movie, and hell, even to the common moviegoers too. One last thing, there is an end credits scene, so make sure you guys stay for that. With all that being said, thanks for stopping by everyone. Until next time.